So she's doing this for her website so she can post this, and also helps her as a speaker. That's how we learn and grow. When we see ourselves, we know what we need to change and what we need to do. So ladies, if you're all comfortable, I want to introduce Charlotte Haymore today. Now, Charlotte has worked in the airline industry. She's also been a travel agent, but she's always had something more. And so that's what she's going to talk to you about today. She's both an inspirational and a motivational speaker. So you're getting a little bit of both this morning. And Charlotte's going to share with us her stories. If you have any problems hearing, you got to do this for us, okay? And just remind her, okay? And so let's give a warm welcome to Charlotte Haymore.
Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
I'm really very happy to be with you this morning, and I want to thank Carol and all of you, all of the leaders of this organization, and everyone present for the opportunity to share with you this morning. I want to give praises to God for this opportunity because, as Carol has told you, I am a fairly new and emerging professional, inspirational, and motivational speaker. And I'm very happy to have an opportunity to talk to you this morning about something I feel very passionately about. So my thought this morning is to just share some things with you about me and my past and how that translates into my goals for accepting the vision that God gave me, and how to, I hope, encourage all of you to do the same thing if you have not already done so. I saw a vision of myself, and would you believe I saw that vision 40 years ago? 40 years ago. I guess I'm a slow learner, huh? But I finally, several years ago, answered the call. I understood that God had something for me to do that I had been ignoring because of various reasons that we're going to talk about. And in addition to the call of becoming a professional, inspirational, and motivational speaker, just recently, as a complement to that vision, I have answered the call to also serve as a personal development coach so that I can help others understand what it takes to accept the vision that God has given you. Regardless of the trials and tribulations of life, regardless of the fears that you may have, if He has something for you to do, you need to answer the call. So, I want to share with you this morning how to rise to your vision. So if you want to take a good look at me now and wonder, why is she just now doing this? She says she's heard this vision 40 years ago. What is the problem? Well, like many human beings, I didn't listen. I ran scared. But you can see that I'm here today, and I'm a testament that should you have a vision that you know is on the inside and you've done nothing about it, it's not too late. Just bear that in mind. It is never too late. As Carol mentioned to you, my background is in travel and tourism. However, I'm really happy today to be working with you or talking with you about my new life's work. So now I have a question for you. How many of you really and truly value your eyesight? Everybody, raise your hands, right? You all do. We all do, and rightly so. We do value the sight that God has given us. It's a prized possession, and we're thankful to God for it. But I would venture to say that we will do whatever it takes to make sure that valuable eyesight we have is always healthy and working properly for us. So if it means getting new eyeglasses, what do? We get new eyeglasses. If it means wearing contact lenses, we get the contact lenses. If it means having LASIK eye surgery, then we have the LASIK eye surgery. because we value the eyesight, which is a vision that God has given us. And for this reason, of course, this vision allows us to see what's happening in the world around us, and that is one of the key reasons we value our vision. However, I do believe, though, that in addition to our eyesight, which is extremely important form of vision for all of us, that there are two other forms of visions that we all experience during our lifetime. First is that outer vision, and then there's the inner vision. So let's examine both. Now, our outer vision is that ability to envision the things that we decide we want for our lives. It's that ability to envision what we think we should have and what we think we should do with our lives. It's the human part. It's what's happening on the outside, that human part of us. And some of those things include success, which certainly does require us to set goals for ourselves so we can move from one level of success to another. That's an outer vision. Also, it includes dreams, though, especially those daydreams when we're constantly dreaming and thinking and hoping and praying that one day we're going to be so great and one day we're going to own so many material possessions that everybody will know who we are. Outer vision, daydreams. And then there are those passions that we all have. You know, those things that, and those projects and those causes that we believe in so very, very passionately. We believe that we should do things that we want to do because we feel like there's a purpose. There's a reason for the passion. And we'll work hours on those passions, hours and hours and hours, to accomplish the goal of making that passion a reality. I know I did. Any of you have some passions you've been working on in the past or maybe even now? Think about it. How many times have you worked on a passion because it was a cause you believed in? Let me share with you some of the passions that I've worked on. Carol mentioned that I was owner and manager of a travel agency, and that is true for 20 years. Let me tell you why I opened the agency. I had the firm belief that if my children, if my family could enjoy travel, then there were others that should have the same opportunity. And I knew there was a community of people in the city of Denver and many other places who simply could not or did not know how to enjoy that opportunity. So my passion was to help them understand how and to help them know that their kids could go to Disneyland, they could go to the Bahamas or anywhere else they wanted to go if they just understood how to do it. So because of that passion, I have served for 20 years families mainly, not just families, but for the most part, and help them understood how they could travel on a shoestring budget and be on the same plane and the same ship as everybody else. That was my passion, not my vision. Let me share one other one with you. For 13 years, I served as founding president of a national association called Travel Professionals of Color. This dealt with professional travel agents mainly, but others in the industry, mainly of color, who maybe just didn't quite know what to do to become a successful travel professional. Maybe they didn't understand the training that was important. Whatever the reason, I felt the need to bring together in the form of an association all of those who were interested in learning how to become travel professionals. And that organization, after 13 years, I decided it was time to move on and do what God really had for me to do. So these projects, these two organizations, once again, these were two of many of my passions propelled by the outer vision. Now let's take a look at that inner vision. It's that inner vision which deals with what's happening on the inside. It's that inner self. It's the vision that provides us with that unusual foresight, and it provides for us that intuitive awakening from the inside that presents to our mind's eye an image of each of us in our own purpose. Inner vision. It's also that power of knowing things without knowing why you know, but you know that you know that you know. Because when God speaks to you, you can't run. I call that power of knowing the inner spirit, that life force that is activated by the highest power himself, and it dwells within every single one of us. Now, all three forms of these visions serve a vital purpose. We don't want one without the other. Let's review quickly. Your eyesight helps you to physically see where you are going while walking in this world. Your outer vision becomes a part of your life's journey as you grow and learn more about who you are and where you want to go. Whereas that inner vision, which I believe is the most important, will lead you to your life's purpose, which is designed by God. Now, I believe this inner vision is the most important of all of the visions. Even those without physical eyesight can have the inner vision. As Helen Keller has said, the only thing worse than being blind is having sight but no vision. So I'd like to spend the rest of my time with you focusing on the inner vision and how to move your vision to reality. As I finally did, I just encourage you not to wait 40 years. So if you want to just take notes, mental notes, physical notes, whatever, I'm going to try to answer some questions or at least give you some pointers on what it is like waiting 40 years before answering the call and what you should do about it. Now, it's important to understand that you can't just talk about your vision. You can't just dream about your vision. You have to activate the dream so that you begin to see the vision clearly. Because if you can clearly see it, then you can clearly be it. Also, you must do your part to make the vision a reality. I mean, you can't just sit around and wait for God to do everything for you. I mean, he's planted the vision on the inside of you. He's given you the dream, and he's given you 5 senses to work with. Now the next step is on you. So I would therefore like to share with you 4 major steps of how to work your vision so your vision will work. I call them the R.I.S.E principles. In the words of Maya Angelou, I rise. I think that word rise is such a powerful word. I mean, rise means to stand up. It means to elevate yourself. It means to reach for the sky. Rise. Each letter of the word represents a profound meaning, and I want to share it with you. Let's look at the R in rise. I would say that R, first of all, means you've got to recognize that there is a vision that belongs to you that is planted on the inside. And it's up to you whether you accept it or whether you reject it. God leaves that in your hands. And if you don't know how to recognize the vision, I believe there is a spirit inside each of us that would help us see our vision by way of listening to the voice inside and asking God for clarity. So I don't think anybody in this group has some concerns, but just in case you know somebody who might not know how to listen to the voice of the Spirit, don't know when the Spirit is speaking to you, let me share with you what works for me, and then you share it with them. First of all, find some time, some quiet time, quality time, when you can spend that time with God and wait for the voice to speak with you. It could be anything while you're washing dishes. I find that a great time for me. Nobody's around. I'm not dealing with anything except washing dishes. I can think then. I can focus. If that doesn't work for you, maybe it's while you're driving. That may not be good, but but sometimes that also works for us. When we're driving in the car all alone, we have some time to think. But what really works for me is when I first wake up in the morning and enjoy and give thanks to God for allowing me to see a brand new day. That's when I can start to meditate, when I can pray, and I can be completely open for whatever God has to share with me early in the morning. I can reach down deep within and ask these questions. I encourage you to do the same thing or share with someone else. Ask these questions and expect and wait for an answer. What image of yourself have you been seeing for years that you simply can no longer ignore? What image can you no longer ignore? And what image of yourself do you continuously see in your mind's eye over and over and over again, and you don't get tired of seeing the image? Ask the question, when you start to see this image, is this my vision call? Not your dreams, not your passions, but your vision, which leads you to your purpose. That vision, all important, will transcend into your purposeful life, and you will be doing what God has asked you to do. Even if you find this image so absolutely unbelievable, ask the question and pray for an answer. So when you're meditating during one of these quiet times and you begin to feel this indescribable feeling within your heart and within your stomach, and everything seems to be off kilter, your heart is skipping a beat, and the quiver in your heart and your stomach just gets to be so overpowering. I believe that the Spirit is speaking and you need to listen. At that moment, stop everything. Reflect on what is happening at that moment. Think about the thoughts you're having. Think about what you're hearing, what you're seeing in your mind's eye. Think about how you're feeling at the moment. Are you feeling excited? Are you feeling grateful? Are you feeling inspired? What is it that you're envisioning at that moment? I believe at that moment, that's when the Spirit is speaking to you. I believe the Spirit is showing you what your vision of your life is to be. Now, you may have done like I did and buried the vision. I did it for 40 years. Big mistake. But it kept coming back to me over and over again, so I had to make a change. So if it keeps coming back to you during those times of meditation, there is value in the vision. And as God keeps dropping this information in your mind, these nuggets of knowledge about whatever it is that He's showing you, Take time to write it down so you won't forget. I mean, I'm at the age where when I wake up, I've forgotten what I was thinking about, so I have to get up and write it down in the middle of the night. But you know, Scripture says to write down the vision and set it out so all can see. So to me, that means tell everybody you know about your vision. In fact, start a journal and share it with like-minded people. Show them your written vision plan, and if they have questions about when is all of this going to happen, when is this vision really going to be a reality, are you sure you know what you're doing, just direct them back to that same scripture. And the second half of that scripture says the vision is yet for an appointed time. In other words, when God says you're ready. And I guess God knew that I wasn't ready for 40 years. Let the Spirit guide your every footstep. Once you have recognized the vision that you have and you've listened to the Spirit, then you must receive the vision and say, yes, I'm ready to be the me, dear Lord, that you want me to be. That's the R in rise. Let's take a look at that I. That I stands for ignore, doubt, and fear, especially from your friends. Don't let other people discourage you. I remember when I was a young adult, and I saw the vision of me speaking to huge crowds of people. And it wasn't anything I was thinking about or focused on or ever thought of doing, but I kept seeing it. And I saw it so much that it bothered me. So I went to a friend to ask if she could help me understand what was going on. I'm expecting some kind of feedback that's going to help me and help me figure out what I need to do about this image that I keep seeing, and I don't know where it's coming from. So I talked to my friend about it. My friend sat and listened. No comments for quite a while. And finally her comment was, oh yeah? Oh yeah? And that was the end of it. I'm sitting there, I'm waiting for more. I know she's going to share something with me that's going to help me. But from that day to this, there has never been another word uttered by that friend about what I talked to her about. I was devastated. But what it did to me was put me into a panic mode. I became afraid and I started second guessing God and myself. And I said to myself, who do you think you are that you can stand up in front of people and speak based on her, oh yeah? And I thought, I don't know what this is, but it's not a message for me. So I took that vision, I just threw it away. I threw it on the ground, I buried it, and I didn't open it up and look at it again until 40 years later. Now, the biggest mistake I also made is I ignored the fact that I had already been speaking to audiences since I was a child. My mother made sure of that. She apparently saw a vision that I didn't know about because she had me performing at church every time she could work it out with the pastor. It was the Easter program for the children, the Christmas program for the children, the Children's Day program, the BYP, the BTU used to be called. All of these training opportunities, my mother made sure I had an opportunity to speak. Didn't understand why. There were 6 children, but I was the one that was on the floor speaking more often than the others. My mother was a wise woman. I ignored the fact that my mother understood that there was something there. So when I went to school, high school, she made me take speech classes. I didn't mind, but she made sure I did. I was in the drama club, and I was in all of these different things. But I still ignored the signs, and I did not listen to the voice of the Spirit because I listened to the voice of a friend. So I encourage you, don't let doubt and fear from others keep you from receiving the blessing of your vision. Always remember that the only thing to fear actually is fear itself. So let's take a look at the S in R.I.S.E. That S to me stands for strategic planning. Start a strategic plan of action that will help you move your vision forward. But you have to remain focused. Because if you're not focused, then the vision will go nowhere. Consider the following items to be included in your strategic plan. First of all, determine your overall goal and the steps you must take to reach this goal. Then apply dates and time frames for reaching your goals, making sure you get done what needs to be done in a reasonable amount of time. Determine if you are already working in the field of your vision or if you are making a change that requires a new branding, as I have. I was in travel and tourism for 30 years, and now I'm trying to reach a market of people who are interested in hearing the message that I have about vision. And it takes time to make that transition. You need to figure out, what do you need to help you get started? Do you need to be coached by a coach? Do you need to go to adult education classes? Do you need to go get a certificate? Whatever is required to make sure you do a great job of making this vision work, you need to include that in your strategy. And above all, keep God in the forefront. As you make these little tiny steps, just remember these steps are continuously moving you closer to the vision, which is the purpose God has for you. One of the big mistakes I made over the years was not remaining focused. I let distractions of all kinds get in my way. I followed dreams, I followed passions, but not my vision. I let job choices get in my way. I let the family get in my way. And yes, life does seem to get in the way sometimes, just everyday challenges. And it takes us off course sometimes. But I suggest you deal with the distraction that's taking you off course, take care of it, put it behind you, and get back on course as soon as you can. Find some time every day to work on your vision, regardless of the distractions. Even if you only spend 15 minutes a day working on your vision, that 15 minutes, as I mentioned, is getting you closer and closer to where God wants you to be. And don't just keep planning to do it. You know how you're going to do something one day? When? One day? Don't keep making excuses and saying, I'm planning to work on my vision as soon as the kids graduate from school, or as soon as you can go back to work and get the certificate, or as soon as you get enough money, or as soon as you retire. There's so many excuses that are just totally unacceptable. Don't let procrastination become your pastime instead of your vision time. Dennis Waitley once said, if you keep planning for the future, then when the future comes, you just may not be here. Now the E in R.I.S.E. Exercise your faith in God. Believe with all your heart that you can lean on Him and you can take bold and deliberate steps toward your vision. And anticipate success. Anticipate that God is going to give you your desires. And if you do your part and execute the written plan, He will. Don't just keep dreaming about what you want to do or what you want to become. Find a way to make your vision plan work. It may take months. It may take years. But find a way, regardless of age or circumstances, like I did. I know it can work. I'm a living witness that it can be done. As I am in my 3rd trimester of life, and ladies, I'm not done yet. The R.I.S.E principles. Recognize and receive the vision that's within you. Ignore doubt and fear, especially from others. Start a strategic plan and remain focused. Exercise your faith and execute your vision plan. In addition, ladies, don't let your external visions, all of the characteristics of the human man, don't let those external or outer visions overshadow your internal visions. Don't get the two confused. Then if you find that stumbling blocks get in your way, instead of thinking that it is impossible to move forward because of life's challenges and you fall by the wayside, all you got to do is get up. Get up and try it again. Get up and move forward. And then say to yourself, though I may fall, still I rise. I must work my vision so my vision will work and my God will be pleased. There's no problem I can't handle with God's help. I will work my vision. No confusion will I accept. I will work my vision. No doubt, no fear, just total clarity from the spirit within. I will work my vision. I must not die with the vision God gave me still inside. I must work my vision. Remember, that inner vision is God's blessing to you and your gift to the universe. And with God's help, you will rise. Thank you.
Oh, Charlotte, I have all these thoughts going through my head at the same time as you were speaking today. And the first one that comes to mind is the difference between when we're young and we want to have that career and then we think we're done. I retired from that career and I'm done. No, if that was your vision, you got a new vision.